So I don't know if you experienced this when you walked in today, maybe for the first time, but there is an honor, this culture of honor that we've created through family, and it's because God has given us this blueprint model of the way He wants His kingdom to look and how He's going to usher in this new move of the Spirit. And we saw it in the Philippines when we went these last 2 weeks. What we're trying to do with missional communities, basically, how do I explain a missional community? They're like almost like small churches, and we call them family on a mission. So people go to these missional communities within our church. We set them up with a missional community, and they become family with that group of people. But they have a specific mission that they're going after. So it's like they have purpose in their place in the family, but they also have family, so they don't have to do it alone and walk through it alone. And it's just an amazing model that God just kind of brought to us in the last couple years. And so we've been trying to work it out. So a few of us went to the Philippines a couple weeks ago to kind of like see how they do it, because we're learning from a ministry there that is connected with us through family. And so we go there, and it's amazing. So they're trying to do what we're doing, but they are 12 years in. So they have these missional communities in like all over in this area in the Philippines. And then they have grown and expanded, and they have missional communities in multiple nations now. And we got to be there for their Kingdom Family Gathering. And basically what that is all of the, like there's probably over 30 missional communities from all these different nations that come together on this one day, and they call it Kingdom Family Gathering, and it's this family of families, and they come together and they just celebrate the whole time and what God's doing and what He's doing through family. And there's a spiritual father and mother over the movement, Paul and Almira, and they call him Daddy Paul and Mama Almira because it's like it's just the family culture is so ingrained. And then Paul and Almira have spiritual sons and daughters who have spiritual sons and daughters who have spiritual sons and daughters, and it just keeps going down the line. Like it's this generation. And when I say spiritual sons and daughters, I can't breathe. When I say spiritual sons and daughters, it's not like a mentor relationship. Like a lot of times we say that and we think mentor relationship. And a mentor is kind of like somebody that can go in and out of your life. Like maybe you have a mentor for a time, but then you don't have them like when you're grown up or whatever. But spiritual family is a family that makes a covenant relationship with those people to walk through life of them to the very end, like till you die. Like it is like your real family. And so the covenant relationship is what holds them all together. Like they're truly family when they get together because they are committed to each other through this bond. And that's what God is doing here. Like it's amazing. And we have covenant relationships like with each other here. And but I believe that God's about ready to like expand that even more into a greater thing, because that is His model. So what's cool about spiritual family also is that it can be in multiple nations. Like to be spiritual family, you don't have to all be in the same place. So with this community in the Philippines, they send their spiritual sons and daughters out to the nations, but then they all come back together and they talk on the phone. They still do life together even though they're in different parts of the world. And it's just this amazing thing. And I've even begun to experience that as I've like gone on trips and met different people, and there are different people that speak into my life from different nations because I've made relationship with them and we have this like covenant bond. And so I have a family in England who is one of my best friends, Becca, and We met in Africa during this 3-month training, like missions training, and they have become like, I talk to Becca every week over Skype. Like, we are so full of like love for each other that we talk and we see like what God's doing, and we get encouraged by each other, and I, and it makes me feel like connected to them over there. I have a spiritual papa who I just met when we were in the Philippines, but we just like had an immediate connection, and Todd and Eric and Stefan became like, they were like the three amigos the whole time, and we all got so close. But his name is Stefan, and he's from Switzerland. And he was just even like messaging me earlier and saying, I'm praying for you, and he was giving me words and what he felt like God was going to do for today. But it's just amazing because, see, what God's doing through this family paradigm is we never have to feel alone. We have people everywhere that constantly can pour into you whenever you need it. And it's this amazing thing. It's so much bigger than just us and our tiny little church here. It's so much bigger than that. It's a kingdom family movement that is sweeping across the nations. So, yeah. So I think, let's see, I can't talk about all this. Another thing that I've learned, just real quick, is that there are no superstars in this next move of God. This next move of God is for everybody.
Amen.
And in a family, there are no superstars. We don't compete with each other, we complete each other. There's honor, there's always honor. There's such a value for each person because everyone brings something so valuable to the table. So where there was a rise of superstars before, like TV evangelists or these crazy apostles, and I'm not saying there isn't a place for that now, but a lot of times in the past, they have fallen or they've died out, or maybe they fell to sin, or these different things in the past is because and their families divided, and it's all because God wants family. And when there's a superstar, it's really hard to be family. And so John 14:18 says, I will not leave you as an orphan, but I will come to you. So we all get to experience, instead of there being a superstar and a bunch of other people that just kind of follow, we all get to experience what it's like to be a superstar because we're family. Yeah. And that's why all these guys are up here with me, because we're all family. So in family, we also get to tap into each other's account. I've kind of already said this. Brandy said it this morning, which is really funny. But, and I think what this means is, I kind of already said it, but how when we all need something, we can call up our family and the person that has that, and they can be that for us. So, like with Stefan, he has this crazy healing ministry, and when I need wisdom in that area, I can call him and I can tap into his account, and he can tell me, the wisdom that he carries so that I can carry it for what I need. Or Papa Leif, he has this amazing breakthrough with Muslims of the world. Like he goes into Pakistan and he sees the hardest, most hard-hearted, crazy, ridiculously evil people come to Jesus, like heady moms that are in charge of, persecution and killing people and bombings and all of this stuff. He can go into the Muslim world, and because he creates relationship with them and he honors them so well, he's seen over 1 million Muslims come to Jesus. He's really anointed for the Middle East and things like that. But because, he's family, I can tap into his account. So when I need wisdom in that area, I can tap into his account. And it's the same with all of us here. What Eric and Tisha carry, what Todd and Tammy carry, what Brandy and Nate carry, what Bill and Mary Ann carry, we can tap into each other's account because we're family. Does this make sense at all? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, so I really feel like this family thing is so important. Luke 1:17, you can put that up there real quick. Luke 1:17. Okay. And he will go on before the Lord in the spirit and power of Elijah to return the hearts of the fathers to their children and the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. So God is, the hearts of the fathers are returning to their children, but the hearts of the children must now return to their fathers. Us college students, I've said this already, but we need you guys. We need spiritual moms and dads. We long for it. And so if you come to us and you want to father us or mother us, or you just want to be there for us and pour into us, we will be so receptive to it, because I think all of us, like, we're in a place in this new move of God that we all feel it. We know that we need you guys. Like, it's for every generation, and every generation has a place. And so, yeah, I'll just say that. Then the last thing I'm just going to talk about really quickly, it's so funny, it keeps coming up, and but it's the Nazarite generation. God, this new move of God, the billion soul harvest, will happen through the Nazarite generation. And a Nazarite, basically defined as being set apart, purified, and made to reflect the glory of God, raised above the norm of society, and given over to the nations. In the Old Testament, in Israel's darkest hour, the Nazarites arose. They were countercultural. They were the consecrated ones. In lifestyle and anointing, they shook the people out of their complacency and confronted the religious status quo with a burning zeal for the name and fame of God. So they're not like the rest of the world. They look different. I believe that a return to Nazarite consecration, born out of grace and God's jealous burning love for us, is the only hope for a return to God in America and across the nations of the earth. It has been and must continue to be the ground preparation, even the forerunner for the greatest spiritual awakening and harvest the world has ever seen. In history, it has been precisely the extremity of such a time that triggered the extremity of their consecration. We are living in an extreme time with all that's taking place. If you watch the news, which I don't, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to bother with all of the, I feel like a lot of times you hear on the news all the bad stuff, but they fail to tell you all the good stuff also happening around the world. But in a time as this, in this dark hour, the consecrated ones are the ones that deny the life of the world, the lifestyle of the world, and they accept the calling of purity and consecration to the Lord, holy and devoted. And it might sound extreme, but it's the extremity of our times that calls for this generation of Nazarites to rise up. Yeah. Reach it. Thank you. You can put Numbers 6, 3-4 up there. Okay, so this was talking about the Nazarites in the Old Testament. It says, he must abstain from wine and other fermented drink, and must not drink vinegar made from wine or from other fermented drink. He must not drink grape juice or eat grapes or raisins. So the whole point of this is, so they were the ones set apart in their culture, and it could sound like legalism to you. Like, it could sound like, God's just like kind of destroying their fun, wants to get rid of all of the things that are enjoyable. And, so it's not legalism though. And Lou Engle has a quote. It says, there is no point in discussing Nazarite restraint if we do not understand the heart of the choice. It's not about sin. Drinking wine and eating the fruit of the vine were not sins in their culture, but good and legitimate activities. It was about delight, not legalism. It was love. They were living for higher pleasures. Nazarites are pleasure seekers. They are this generation of God that are called to be consecrated. They are pleasure seekers, but the wisdom to seek